All right, we are coming at you live on Cutdown Day. And obviously, the biggest story of the day is Cam Newton is cut. The Patriots are rolling with Mac Jones. The Mac Jones era has officially started in New England. And there are a ton of other things to talk about as well. But since the Mac Jones era is starting in New England, who better to have on with me during this than Brian Phillips? Brian?
Yeah, then perennial Mac Jones supporter, lifelong Cam denier, Mac supporter, Brian Phillips. Hi, everybody. Pat, I am absolutely beyond thrilled to be here.
I mean, what we were talking about it off the air, right? And this is the big thing, right? I wrote an article the other day saying that all signs pointed to Cam Newton being the starter, and we were talking about this off air too. Like, when's the last time we saw a guy get all the reps, all the first team reps in every single camp session that he was available for? Some of them he wasn't available for, but all of the sessions that he was available for, he got every single rep, and then he gets cut. Like, I was shocked, completely shocked that Mac Jones is the starting quarterback. I love it personally, but I was completely shocked.
Yeah, I mean, it's we've never seen this pattern, right? So obviously, I've been a big advocate of Cam ever since, really like after the first couple games of the regular season last year. I was never a big Cam guy until they brought him in. I always liked his demeanor. I always liked the guy. I never appreciated his style. And then, so that's the people know that. People know where I am at on Cam. A lot of people do. And so when Bill came out and announced Cam as the starting quarterback to start training camp, it looked like, okay, this is your standard pattern of veterans starting the year. Maintained all throughout camp. Cam's the starter. Cam took the ones, as I understand, never took reps with twos, right?
Right,
I don't remember a single report.
Nope.
Never took reps with twos. Cam was an idiot and had this miscommunication on his COVID thing, not being vaccinated, big issue. Availability is a big deal. Came back, still took the reps with the ones. All the playing time in the preseason games.
Yep.
Couple series. All right, come on out, get fresh. Looked great in the second game. Looked good in the third game. The first game was whatever. Chase Young almost ended his life in his second drop back. And then reports of how everybody looked, how him and Cam looked at practice. It was a little even. Mac would kind of have the edge one day, Cam would have the edge the next day, and then out of it's out of left field with just the way the pattern was, and I mean, yeah, you and like you said, I mean, how many points? 6 points of why Cam Newton is the starter. Hit publish and then
Yeah. And listen, again, to me, it's just, it was all about the reps. And I personally, I even said it came to like one of my favorite paragraphs I've ever written for Pat's Pulpit about, how my long and illustrious coaching career. But I thought that Mac should be the starter, but I thought Bill was going to announce Cam. And as far as I was concerned, that was good enough for me. If Bill believed that Cam was the starter and good enough to be the starter, then that was good enough for me, because I've gotten to a point right now where I trust Bill, and I think you'd be kind of dumb not to. So again, we're in the situation.
The last couple of weeks,
right?
I'm like, everybody, look, like, am I the only person who's like doing that? Because usually that's not the bell I'm ringing, right? Like usually I'm like, when they drafted Mac,
yep,
it was like,
oh, we hated it.
I wasn't a huge fan of taking the 5th overall quarterback, but I mean,
we'll post that video someday, maybe maybe today on Pat's Pulpit.
They have a type, and it's like, am I the only one ringing the Bill Belichick bell here? Like, trust Bill on this, and because all the signs were, look, this is what Bill's doing,
yeah,
and the biggest error I made in that judgment was clearly, and again, this is not me thinking Mac looked bad or performed poorly. It's a matter of just how do I how do I put this without getting myself into any more trouble? Huh. It's just that there are things that we don't know yet about Mac Jones. And
Right.
clearly the Patriots do. My biggest error wasn't in my assessment of Mac Jones, in my opinion. My biggest error was assessing the bar that he had to clear in the mind of Bill Belichick to convince Bill that he could be the guy moving forward for the entire season. Bill clearly went into this regular season in week one saying the guy I start this week is the guy I want to go the distance with, and that
Right.
has the benefit of, if I start Mac, it has the benefit of starting the Mac era now and not
Yep.
postponing that. And then that also ties in with him crossing the bar of, do I think this kid is smart enough, and is he does he learn from his mistakes quick enough to take those early lumps that he's going to take in those first, the first month of playing NFL
Right.
ones in regular season acts, or we're going to have packed stadiums, like all
Right.
that stuff is, things are going to be moving quick for him. Is he able to do that? Bill clearly thinks that's yes, and that's a lower bar than, okay, Mac has to go out and demolish Cam Newton, which
Right.
he didn't. I mean, he didn't really, because they both played pretty well.
I mean, it was almost, the fact that he didn't have to beat out Cam. He simply had to be good enough for Belichick, right?
Right.
Where, hey, we'd love to start the kid, but we're going to throw everything at him. And they did. They threw everything at them. I mean, even when they did, when they went against the Giants on the Thursday that Cam came back, Cam gets the first rep against 11 on 11. Mac gets the second rep 11 on 11. And what do they do, which they didn't do with Cam, is they turn the music way up. They get the music blaring because they want him to be dealing with music and noise and sound. You can't hear stuff. You got to project. You got to, okay, this is going on. So those distractions were there. They tested him over and over and over and over again. And it was almost like, listen, if you're ready to go, you're the guy week one. And if you're not, then Cam's the guy. And it almost was like, we don't even care what Cam looks like. If you're ready to go, you're the guy, And so, and I think that maybe that was the case. And listen, as far as Cam Newton's concerned, nobody should be talking shit about Cam Newton. Nobody. Like, the guy came in, was an absolute pro, and dealt with a ton of crap from Patriots fans, dealt with a ton of crap from Patriots reporters. And, really from the national media too, were all over him. People have been all over him for a full year now. Never once made an excuse, never once shifted a blame to anyone else, was always there to take the blame and take responsibility for not playing well and not winning games. Always, every single time, no matter what. And so, I just think a consummate professional, a guy, I mean, surprised the hell out of me when he came here, because I was like, whatever, Cam is Cam. He's flamboyant. He dresses like this, or whatever. But that's who he is outwardly. But like, man, like, he's just such a professional in the locker room, dealing with the media, he just seemed like a genuine person, which I think is great. And we could talk about, we're not going to talk about the vaccination thing, but that might have had something to do with it. Maybe not. I don't know.
I don't know how it can't, to be honest, with how,
right.
And we don't even know if Mac's vaccinated, but the reports from Giardi today that there were some in the organization that weren't thrilled with the miscommunication that he had, right? That Cam had regarding the testing and whatever. I never got deep into the minutia of what that actual violation was. Who knows? The bottom line is it could all be avoided if you just got vaccinated.
Right. It's like some stupid thing where it's like they're getting tested by a specific, like, I don't know if they're getting a specific test or they're getting tested by a specific company, but that specific test or company has to do every single one of your tests. And when he left the state for whatever reason, that place wasn't doing the testing. And so therefore, even though he still got tested every day, he wasn't getting tested by that company or with that test. And so, boom, there you go. So, Spags showing up.
Spags. Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's right. He'll be on with us Wednesday night. So
yep, that's right. So
you know what? Since Spags is here, maybe we should talk about what Jarrett. No, we're not going to talk about what Jarrett said.
So I want to put it out there that when it comes to Cam and like learning, like the thing I'll appreciate the most about, I mean, what he did here is, I mean, literally the biggest, you could argue the biggest shoes to fill in the history of sports.
Yep.
Tough. That's a
Yeah.
tough circumstance to walk into. And like you said, how, guy couldn't have been more of a class act the whole way. And then, for me personally, like I was saying, I was never a big fan of his game because being indoctrinated into what Tom Brady was and the kind of player that Tom Brady was for so many years, and having the front row seat to that, uh, changes the way that we think about quarterback play.
Right.
And having Cam in the building and watching him gave me a different understanding of what I'm watching, and it pushed me to learn more about the quarterback position and to learn more about um I'm telling you, all X's and O's and just misconceptions that we have and things that we talk about completely differently. And a lot of my pushback against Mac Jones isn't about technically about Mac himself. It's about he makes it so easy to fall into these traps of um arm strength doesn't matter, and this is what arm strength actually is, or this is what a catchable ball is, or this is what is actually on the quarterback, this is what a blitz pickup is, or here's what's happening here and here and here, and this is Cam's fault, this was Tom never did this. A lot of these misconceptions that we have came out in the last year, and it made me a more knowledgeable fan and a more knowledgeable content producer. And I'm excited about that moving forward. I hope he gets a chance. What are your thoughts, Pat, on outright cut
I
as
was
opposed
surprised.
to
I
yeah.
was surprised only because I thought there was someone that could use him. But I think they kind of shopped him probably, and no one wanted to trade for him, which to me is bizarre because I feel like someone's going to pick him up in a backup role somewhere. Right now, maybe
Well, I
he's going to
figure
get paid
they'd
less
probably want to
money
pick him up.
theoretically,
Yeah, they'd want to pick him up without the 14 million of total cash incentives. I think
which I guess that's true. Yeah.
yeah, or I think that would have been his total if he reached all of his incentives with the Patriots. Would have been around 14 million, somewhere around
Yeah.
there. It would have
Which
been a lot less for another team, but
Right,
still, it
which
would have been.
Houston, Houston seems like the most likely scenario. They don't have, seems like Deshaun Watson's not going to play. I know that they've talked about Dallas picking him up. To me, all 32 teams, all 31 teams should be looking at him, right? He can't play here because you can't have him behind Mac Jones. And even if he's the best guy in the world and never makes a sound, right? Even if he's just solely supporting Mac Jones, when Mac Jones struggles, not if, when Mac Jones struggles, because he will, because he's a rookie, he's going to struggle at some point. He
Yeah.
still might have a good year. He still might win Rookie of the Year. It doesn't matter. He's going to struggle at times because he's a rookie quarterback. When that happens, they might even lose a game because of Mac Jones being a rookie quarterback and making a stupid mistake. When that happens, if you have a few guys in the locker room who are like, what the hell, man? We got Cam right there, dude. He's that big personality. Everyone loves him. Like, how come he's not playing, right? You can't have that in your locker room.
Can't
Like,
have it.
Bill does
No,
not want that in the
yeah.
locker room. So you have to get rid of him because of that. Even if Cam's willing to play ball and willing to say, hey, I don't mind being the backup, doesn't matter, right? He'll go somewhere else and be the backup, and I think be a great guy in the locker room and give a ton of support to whoever the starting quarterback is and make that team a better team just by being in the locker room. So, I don't know where it'll be, but honestly, anywhere, like literally anywhere. Arizona's a great spot with Kyler Murray, like really anyone.
Pittsburgh's
a great spot, dude. Freaking Dwayne Haskins, dude. Please.
Yeah. So I agree with you. Like, that's a big personality to have behind your rookie, who is already commanding that locker room. Everything you read in here, even beyond just the general pleasantries of the kid's working hard and this and that, you can start to see that the Patriots are coalescing around this kid. And yeah, Mac or Cam would not be an outright distraction. It's just he has a big, he's got a lot of gravity. He's a big, gregarious dude. Everybody loves him. He's got so much respect, and it's to the point where it is too much. Right. I agree with that. I think a bigger deal, the bigger points of releasing him rather than having him as your backup, because you remember he's got value as a backup. I mean, and I mean, you could put packages together with him. There are things you can do, a red zone threat, goal line situations. Like he's got some value.
Right.
Um, and to get rid of him, that means you really have weighed the pros and cons. And I think the biggest one in Bill's mind is, I got too much respect for Cam. I want Cam to go out, see if he can find a situation,
Yeah.
and get a chance. Get a chance somewhere else where he's going to have more of a shot,
Chicago's
because
a
he's
good.
not.
That's a good call with Chicago.
Yeah, Chicago makes a lot of sense. I mean, how many quarterbacks are they getting? I
Wow,
think Nick Foles is still in that roster
he
too.
might
Isn't he?
be. Yeah.
I think Nick Foles is still out there making like $23 million this year, something absurd. Um, but I think the respect factor for Cam, number one, that's why he's gone and
Right.
flat out released. The big personality of their locker room, and then I think more so than playing into why he's not starting for this team, but why he can't be a backup, is the vaccination status. You can't have your backup quarterback having a vaccination problem, because now you have to carry three.
Right.
And were you going to carry three? Probably not. You've got Stidham going to IR, and you've got last thing you need is Hoyer being thrust into a backup role all of a sudden, if your rookie quarterback struggles.
Right.
In that scenario where you're expecting to have Cam and now it's Hoyer.
Yep. And we also haven't gotten the full 53. I expect Brian Hoyer to not be on the initial 53, because if he's not, he does not go through waivers. And so what they're going to do is instantly move at least N'Keal Harry, if not both N'Keal Harry and Penny Jennings, right to IR. And when that happens, because you can basically take them off IR right away, you move those guys to IR, and then Hoyer comes right back, right? So I wouldn't be surprised to see him not make that initial 53, just to have that wiggle room of players. I'm surprised, and we'll talk about in a minute. We'll talk about some of the players that got cut that I was a little surprised about, but keeping the depth that they have, you don't need Hoyer on the initial 53. He's not going to go through waivers, so you cut him, you go through, boom, that guy goes on IR, and you bring him right back. So
and I won't lie, there was a little piece of me that was hoping that was Cam, that was
right.
the plan with Cam. Like, hey, we'll just cut you and we'll bring you back. But no, clearly, you don't do that with a Cam Newton. But
right.
Who's the biggest surprise cut for you?
The biggest surprise cut to me is outside of Nick Folk, which I'm very happy Quinn Nordin's getting the nod. I'm frankly shocked, because I thought Belichick was going to play it safe with the specialist and play it with the guy who's been more consistent and was so consistent last year. But I think maybe there's some worries about his back and his overall health. He's another guy that isn't going to go onto waivers. And if he doesn't get picked up by a team right away, the Patriots might stash him on the practice squad. So that's a possibility with Nick Folk. Now, he could go to New Orleans, let's say, because they don't have Will Lutz down there. So we'll see. We'll see if he makes it to the practice squad. But I wouldn't be surprised to see Folk there on the practice squad. But the biggest surprise to me was Miles Bryant. Miles Bryant's a guy who played well the last year, and I really thought, like, here's a guy who's going to play his way onto a roster spot, and just didn't. They cut him, and I was like, Miles Bryant, are you sure? And D'Angelo Russ, another guy, got the start the other night. Played well when he got the start against the Giants, and it just wasn't enough. So he got cut too. So, but Bryant was definitely
well.
Bryant was a guy that I had sharpied.
Had a great night.
He did, yeah. So how about you? Anyone else that surprised you there?
I mean, yeah, it's Miles Bryant, but you bring in a guy like Jalen Mills in the offseason,
right?
Who has that safety nickel versatility, that outside versatility. You bring in Sean Wade, who clearly they have got some capital invested into, and they want to see how he can develop. They're fine. That defense is fine. Does it suck having Stephon Gilmore move to PUP? Absolutely. I don't know. We haven't really touched on that, but kind of writing on the wall with that one. So it'll be kind of middle of October until he's eligible, right? Somewhere in the middle of October.
Yeah, it's concerning. That's concerning to me, because
it is.
All reports say he should be healthy by now. And if he's not healthy, and he's not healthy enough that he has to wait at least 6 weeks, that's concerning to me, that either A, he's like, screw you, I'm not putting my body on the line because you're not giving me a contract, or B, he's not recovering as quickly as they'd like him to. Both of those things would be bad news to the Patriots. So,
Yeah.
I don't know where this is going. I was like confident that they were going to sign him to an extension like this week. I'm very surprised that they're not. We'll see. We're going to have to wait, but he's not going to play for $7 million. He's not going to do it. And so I think they're going to have to up his salary this year, even if he is on the pup right now. So we'll see. The other one is Cam McGrone is on the NFI list. And what's so interesting about that is that when players are on the NFI list, they don't technically have to be paid. It's
Right.
very similar to the pup list, but he's a rookie. Like, I don't understand why he's on the. I don't know. I mean,
Well,
whatever.
it's because
but
it's an injury that
strange.
happened outside of the purview of his NFL career, right? So if you're mountain skiing and hurt your leg,
No, but
you go on.
I
the
mean, I
NFI.
understand that, but he got hurt playing football.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not like.
I mean, I don't. It's ridiculous. But because if it's that scenario where it's a guy who comes in from having an injury outside of the purview of being a professional football player in the NFL. Then,
So I guess technically the Patriots are probably paying him because he's a rookie and he didn't do anything wrong. But the NFI list is for guys who, like a Ben Roethlisberger or Kellen Winslow, who falls on his motorcycle being an idiot. Okay, you're on the list. You're not getting paid because you're a dummy. You know what I mean? Like, Cam McGrone tore his ACL and playing football. Like, what do you want the guy to do? You know what I mean?
Remember, it was a big point of contention last year with who was it out in Denver? I'm losing it. The tackle who hurt his leg, hurt his knee working out.
Oh, right.
James. We're on fire today.
Yep.
Signed a big deal.
Yeah.
Miami.
I know you're talking about. Yeah.
It hurt his leg working out, and but it wasn't as part of a team Zoom workout. And hey, we're not going to pay you, and then cut him. What a world.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
But yeah, so I mean, we do not, still don't have the official 53.
No,
but,
so Brian Coward on the pup as well. So he's out at least the first 6 weeks. Him and Gilmore on the pup immediately. Again, I expect definitely Harry and possibly even Penny Jennings, which is Anthony Jennings, for those of you that don't already know his nickname is Penny. I don't know if it's actually his nickname, but it absolutely should be. Like, I don't know if anyone's actually done them yet, but it needs to be. I assume they'll both go on to IR. So they'll be on the initial 53, and then they'll have 2 extra roster spots. Now, one of those roster spots should be Brian Hoyer, but another position we need to talk about is wide receiver. So they cut Christian Wilkerson. I got that wrong like 6 times the other day. They cut Christian Wilkerson and they cut Isaiah Zuber, both guys who I thought could sneak onto the roster. But here's the deal, right? It's not just Wilkerson or Zuber. The kid from Clemson, what the hell's his name? Who got drafted by the Powell.
Cornell
sakes,
Powell.
dude. Yeah, Cornell Powell. He got cut by the Chiefs today. So there's a bunch of Brandon Cooks supposedly is available. There's John Brown requested his release from the Raiders today. So there's a ton of guys that can make it back onto the roster in that last wide receiver spot. I'm convinced that if they free up 2 spots from the IR, that one of them is going to be quarterback with Hoyer and one of them is going to be wide receiver, whether that's Wilkerson, whether that's Zuber, whether that's Brown or Powell or Cooks or whoever. I just think that that's going to be that last spot is going to be a wide receiver. We'll see, but that's kind of how I feel. Just they need more depth,
Well, that's going to show you what they really think about Christian Wilkerson, right? A guy who has all the talent in the world, but man, if you can't catch the football when you are tasked with doing it in games, sorry, man, you had your opportunities, but I believe two drops in the preseason, one on a deep ball from Mac.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man.
That was a touchdown. You can't.
You've got all the talent in the world, but you've got to make it happen when your number's called, and you just you couldn't make it happen. But
right. Yeah. Someone asked about this Rambo whatever, any belief in so-called rumors about New England bringing Cooks back. I mean, this stems from Houston basically saying that all of their players are available by trade.
Right.
I mean, sure, I'd be down with Cooks coming back. I don't know if they would, simply because I think they have their deep threat already in Nelson Aguilar, and to bring Cooks in and then you get two deep threat wide receivers, it just doesn't, like, in this offense, you just don't need that. So
They're going to need a body, and they're going to need a guy that plays special teams.
right, right.
They're going to need some of that. But it reminds me a lot of was it 2017 or 2018 when they brought in they had those two roster spots, just like kind of like we have going into this first week, and they brought in Chad Hansen and Amara Darbo, and then Amara Darbo never panned out. I think he was immediately cut. Chad Hansen made it I believe a week. I believe he made it through week 1, and then he was released.
Unceremoniously let go.
I believe Chad Hansen got some run in Houston last year. He was like a little bit of a fantasy darling last year for like a hot second.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
I mean, that's the thing, so we'll see. I mean, I just think that the back end of the roster is going to be interesting. There's a million guys in the front seven that, and someone mentioned it earlier. I mean, Dark Blue Gold, I think about, about the talent that they've brought in via draft the last few years. You look at Duggar and Uche and now Mack and Stevenson and Barmore and Perkins looked decent. Perkins struggled a little bit, but looked decent. Like, those guys, and obviously on Wenu, like those guys, they've hit a ton of home runs in a lot of these picks. And I think we're looking at a team that is built for the future. As Josh over here says, Josh from Pewter Report over there, but a Patriots fan says, the future. I mean, it's true. I mean, I think they're set. And this is my opinion on this. One of the things I wrote about why Mac Jones should be the starter is because, in my opinion, they have the ability to be a Super Bowl contender in 2022. They're not doing that this year, right? They're not. There's too many other good teams. And no matter who you had at quarterback, you were limited. I liked Mac. I liked Cam too, but I just didn't think he could get you to that level anymore. And so it was, hey, you can compete. You might make the playoffs. You might even win a game in the playoffs, but you're not really competing with those upper echelon teams this year, no matter what. So you put Mac in, you let him make his mistakes now. You let him go through his rookie bumps now. Maybe you win 8, 9, 10 games. Who knows, right? And then next year, boom, like you're ready to go. You got the whole core still intact, a bunch of young players. Now you got to figure out the cornerback situation, but you got a bunch of young players and go from there. And then you see what happens, So I think that to me was one of the reasons why it made sense to do this. And I'm happy that they did. And again, I mean, we can debate about who's better and who's this and who's that. But one thing is for sure, Mac is the future of the team. And so you're starting the future now instead of starting the future at the beginning of 2022. And to me, I just felt like, okay, that makes sense, So we'll see.
For me, well, this is where I think the disconnect is. I mean, clearly, in my opinion, this choice was, yes, they're going with the future. The guy we start week 1, we want to start the whole year, so we might as well make that Mac because we know he showed me enough that I can clear that bar of, okay, he can handle taking the lumps early, get into a rhythm, and start learning. He's got a good enough unit around him to make it happen. This is a style over substance. It's a style choice, right?
Yeah.
Cam is playing well. He is healthy. He clearly, I mean, Bill said it this morning. He is, learning. He's learning the offense. That's got to be one of those just as he's answering it, how he keeps a straight face, because he knows.
Right.
He didn't make the choice, in the 45 minutes between the press conference and the press release, but Cam was learning the offense in a much better place this year. That's why I'm bummed, because in learning Cam's style and what makes Cam effective, I know that if he was the quarterback moving forward this year, they'd have a great chance to make a deep playoff run, because he's able to do so much, and it's so different to what we normally than what we normally want from a New England quarterback. But the fact of the matter is, he's going to create a lot more plays, and He's going to be able to get out of a lot more problems than he creates. And with this offensive line and these weapons that they've added this year, it was going to be a problem for defenses. And I still think they're going to be a problem. I do. The way Matt can command the offense and with that crisp, accurate passing, it's nice. It's good to see. But there are going to be learning curves, and there are going to be issues, and there are going to be sacks, and there are going to be weird throws and ducks, and it's going to be bad at times. It just is. Any quarterback coming into any team for the first year is going to have these learning curves just with individual players, let alone, oh my God, the speed of NFL defense is coming at me. Right. But hey, let's rip the Band-Aid off. Let's do it. You got 17 games to do it this year. So to get that rookie season under their belt. And hey, no law that says you can't just go ahead and make a deep playoff run as a rookie. As far as I'm concerned, last time I checked, there is no law against rookie success.
It's very true. It's very true. Look at Ben Roethlisberger, 15-0. If he'd only listened to his coaches and avoided throwing to
Pat, that was in 1946.
I mean, can you believe he's still in the league? That was 2004. I mean, I can't believe that was that long ago, but it was 2004. Yeah. The coaches that week said there is one thing you cannot do, Roethlisberger, and that is throw the ball near 37. He's going to make it look like the guy's open, but he's not going to be open. Do not throw it to 37. Do not do it. And what did he do? Threw it to 37, and he picked him off and ran it back for touchdown.
This is what I'm so excited about. I'm so excited to see how Mac adjusts week to week. And when we finally see complex looks and looks off of looks and baiting and all the things that NFL defensive coordinators do and NFL defenders are some of the smartest people on the planet. Like NFL defenders, like especially like guys, if you're wearing the green dot in an NFL football game, I would trust you to like build a rocket ship because of how smart and how quick these guys have to react and what they're able to do to rookie quarterbacks. So it's like the test is on for Mac. Like, I mean, talk about a cool challenge. This is exciting. I'm getting more excited as I talk myself into it. Okay.
Well,
I'm excited.
Here it is. Right. It's a great question. Dark Blue Gold. When was the last time you guys were this excited about the unknown with the Pats? Now, this is not like we know what's going on. This is the unknown. We have no idea what we're going to get from Mac. We don't know what the defense is going to look like right now. Uche's been unblockable. Judon's been unblockable. J.C. Jackson's been playing lights out corner. Hightower's been fantastic, and they've been overall amazing on defense. But it's preseason. We don't know how that's going to translate over to the regular season. We don't know what the running back situation is going to look like. We have no idea what the quarterback situation is going to look like. We don't know if Jacoby Myers is going to catch 100 passes this year, which he is. We don't know what Jonnu Smith's going to do. We don't know how if Hunter Henry's going to stay. Like, there's so many unknowns going into the season. And to answer his question, I don't think I've ever been as excited as I am right now for the unknown. Knowing what you're going to get from Brady, like, sure, absolutely. But, like, that's one of the, thank God he doesn't have to play
expectations, right? I mean, the expectations. I mean, we're talking about Mac Jones and the excitement and the hype of Mac Jones. I know I've brought this up to you before. Yeah. Like, going to high school and college in the state of Michigan, all my buddies are Lions fans, right? And so I remember when Matt Stafford came into town in 2009. The hype around Matt Stafford. And then obviously he went on and started, and that was what it was throughout. The Lions are like the epitome of the constantly rebuilding, never doing things right franchise, right? And so I've seen lows, right? So we come off of a 7-9 season as the first season after the greatest quarterback of all time leaves and goes and wins a Super Bowl somewhere else.
Right.
And it's as if we might as well have not won a football game last year. Right? Like, yeah. I mean, that's how much is put on Mac Jones's shoulders. So now there's a lot of pressure. And to be honest, the media did a bad job this year of giving just straight up, like, did he look fine in practice? Did he look sharp? Sure.
Yeah.
Did he look sharp in preseason? Sure. But man, there wasn't legitimate, like, I didn't see one legitimate critique of this guy's weaknesses and any semblance of pump the brakes.
Yep.
Because and now going into this year, it's as if Tom Brady's back under center. That's what Twitter looked like today.
Right. Yeah, it's not great. I mean, the hard thing is that
got to relax a little bit.
The hard thing is he looked so much better than I expected. Like I was like, all right, he's gonna
Pat,
come in, like he'll be fine.
you were playing middle linebacker for Philadelphia a couple weeks ago. You
But
were.
even
They
in,
called me. I was busy. You
I,
were there. You played. You were on that
even
defense.
even in the big thing for me was the takeaway from practice. It was the practice reps. It was him playing against the first team defense in
I
practice.
didn't see any of these, so that is a
Right.
big. Like that's where I lean on you guys.
That was where it was for me because I saw Jimmy. I mean, people are talking about, Hoyer had a great, preseason numbers. Stidham had great preseason numbers. All these guys had great preseason
No,
numbers as
Stidham.
rookies. They did. But they didn't look like this in practice. Like he just picked things up so quickly in practice and was playing against the ones, not all the time, but at points was playing against the ones and still doing it at practice. And it was just like, wow, like you could instantly see the poise. And there was one moment so two moments really stick out in my head. One I saw, one my dad saw and pointed out to me. But my dad was saying he was there at camp one day and, they're getting huddled up or whatever. And Mac's like, all right, come on, let's go huddle up. And everyone's like taking their sweet ass time. And he's like, let's go, get that. And he like a Brady outburst, like get in the huddle right now.
A red ass.
Right.
And like.
And from a rookie, like you don't expect that. And to see that was great. And the other part of it for me, and I tweeted out after it happened, first day of full pads, he looked terrible. Oh, he looked awful. Worst day of camp, first day of full pads, he looked terrible. And I tweeted out, like, anyone that thinks Max should be the starting quarterback is stupid because that was awful, like embarrassing level. And he followed that up with the two best days that he had of camp. And because he learned from his mistakes, he figured out what was going on and boom, like that's what happens, So, and again, it's one of those things like you don't know. And listen, it was my Cliff moment. He's right. That's my Cliff moment. But it's one of those interesting things where it was like, I didn't think just the way he's rebounded and the way he's figured things out so quickly is unbelievable. And I made a comment earlier on a different show. I was talking, I'm on Green Room, Spotify Green Room sometimes, and I was chatting this afternoon. I just said, playing quarterback, starting in the NFL at quarterback is a lot like being a parent, right? When you're a parent, nobody is prepared to be a parent. Like you think you're ready to be a parent, but nobody is actually ready to be a parent. You're not. It's impossible to be ready. So you try to be ready and you read up on it and you talk to friends.
Me and my wife got a dog, and now we think we're ready.
Right. Exactly. You're not. But you practice.
Sure? I feel ready.
100% not. No. And you practice. You read the books and you go to the classes and you do the thing. And then the baby comes and you're like, oh my God, I have no idea what the hell I'm doing. And every single day you're like on pins and needles, like I'm gonna murder this thing because I don't know what the hell I'm doing and I'm gonna kill it. And you're like, no, actually you're not. You're gonna figure it out, And so, but
on accident, folks.
Well, yes, like no, right. It's like
my neglect.
No, right. It's like my neglect is gonna kill this thing, right? You know what I mean? Like it's just like I don't know what I'm doing. How do I take care of a living thing, right? So, but then it's like you make mistakes and you do stupid crap. But then you figure it out eventually, right? And that's the way it is playing football in the NFL. It's like, hey, you're playing quarterback in the NFL, you're going to make mistakes. It doesn't matter how long you're sitting back there getting ready and studying and doing all this other crap. Until you get out there in a real game, you're not going to be ready. And so the only way you can get ready is by getting out there.
What I'm gathering from this, let's get Mac Jones at a kindergarten. All right, Mac, you're in charge for the next hour and a half. They just got up from their naps. They haven't had juice boxes yet. We'll see you in an hour and a half.
Good luck, buddy. Right. Right. See, there you go. And then it was not a dad bod. It was not a dad bod joke. But I do agree with that. Also, Andrea here says, thank God Mac doesn't have to play against Bill Belichick's cover zero blitz. I will say his first game is against Brian Flores, who he might see a cover zero blitz from.
He's going to be getting some noise. Because I mean, that's the thing. You cannot sit back and play zone against, like that's what Mac saw his whole career, in the SEC, because you flat out couldn't play that way against Jalen Waddle,
right.
Jerry Jeudy. Well, I guess Jerry Jeudy wasn't as good. What is a primary for him? Devontae Smith. You can't play press man against these guys.
Right. Correct.
So, Mac's got a ton of great zone. He's got and you saw it in the preseason. I mean, the touchdown on Sunday night against that cover 2 look zone. It was a red zone, probably
great throw.
Look.
Yeah.
And it was just they've got Trent Harris playing outside linebacker, like kicking into the flat. The second Wilkerson was not Wilkerson, Zuber
Yeah.
covers, the second, and that's where the anticipation was. The second Harris slides, fails to get Zuber out of the seam. Zuber turns and it's hit. It's immediately. I mean, Mac knew exactly where he was going with that thing because he knows where all the weak spots are. It's going to be a different story when that's NFL, when that's like starter speed. Of course, Trent Harris is a starting, he's a 53-man roster quarter, kind of player. But starters don't let that guy in the seam that easy. And, there is pressure, and that read's not going to be there, 70% of the time. You're going to have to move off, and things are going to get quick. And it's going to be, I am excited. I'm very excited. I'm still a little bummed about, Cam finally being healthy and finally everything's like slotted in. Okay, here we go. Now we're ready to make this run. And then, he gets the rug pulled out. But hey, guy got beat. Guy had 5 days off for the miscommunication for not being vaccinated. And the next thing you know, Jeff Howard's tweeting 18 straight completions from Mac Jones against the ones. So like, what do you expect?
Yeah.
This is on a lot of this is on Cam. I don't lean on that as the main reason.
Right.
I don't. I think
but it's
that's
a factor.
Crutch.
Definitely
a
factor.
Small factor.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the opportunity was there, and the kid. I mean, that's another thing. The opportunity was there, and the kid seized it. Right.
Correct.
That's like a thing you look for. So.
All right. Here's your prop bet: over under 225 team rushing yards in week 1.
Yeah, I gotta go. I'm gonna go under all the rushing yards because Cam's not around anymore.
Correct.
Remember how many? I mean, Cam would peel off a 40-yarder, or cushion it with an extra 30, 40, 50 yards.
Yep. No, and you can't. I mean, 225 is a lot. I mean, you never know, but 225 is a lot. They're gonna run the hell out of the ball.
We want the ball in the air with this kid. I don't want training wheels on him.
I agree.
Let him go. Let him rip.
Yep. And Dark Blue Gold's right. Like, the dynasty was declared dead last year, right? Belichick stinks. Brady was the only reason they were good. The Patriots are done. Like, see you later. We buried them there in the coffin. And now you never know. And again, we don't know what we're going to see from Mac, but the Mac Jones era has begun. And right now, we're feeling great about it. I mean, we'll see how we feel week 10, but right now we feel great about it, So we'll see. We'll see. There's a lot of things to look that we're looking forward to, I think. But we shall see. By the way, Brian Flores just addressed his team, saying that Tua was our quarterback, and essentially that they are not trying to trade for Deshaun Watson. So now, whether that's actually true or not, or whether they just decided that whatever, but either way,
I don't put anything past any NFL teams anymore because like the amount that they're willing to just overlook things and just play the waiting game with PR and not like they know a story will run its course eventually, regardless of how bad it is. Be really nice if nobody traded for Deshaun Watson this year. It's really great.
Yeah, I certainly hope they don't. I mean, Jesus Christ, dude. It's just enough is enough, right? So, but anyways, all right. So that's it, man. We went 45 minutes here. The 53-man roster officially has not been out yet. Carl Davis tweeted out a little smiley face. So Carl Davis is on the 53-man roster. I can confirm that one.
Let's go, baby.
Which I'm loving.
Give the man some reps with the ones.
Yeah, I'm excited about him, man.
Playing big edge.
What I loved is during, and I don't know, I don't think anyone really even mentioned this. Every single rep during 11-on-11 against Philadelphia in team drills, the Patriots were either 1 or 2 down linemen. Every single rep. Every other person was standing. And it was like glorious. That like amoeba defense or whatever. And the thing is that you got enough guys with the size that you can still stop the run in that. And so, that's it's crazy. So, but anyways, that's the way it goes.
That's what I'm really excited to see how they play with their gaps this year. Last year was an absolute nightmare. They were having last year they were forced to play a lot of one gap stuff. So, big news out of Detroit. Lions released both of their kickers,
Yeah.
Randy Bullock and Zane Gonzalez.
I know. It's like, all right, they're just not going to have a kicker. That's fine.
Yes.
So there you go.
That's the most Lions thing I've ever seen.
Hey, man, listen, Dan Campbell's not worried about kicking field goals, all right? So, I mean.
Both kickers have had their kneecaps removed.
So we'll see. So listen, big news. Obviously, the biggest news is Cam Newton, gone, and Brian Hoyer being the starter. Malcolm Butler just was placed on the reserved/retired list, so that's interesting. Yeah, so we'll see what happens there. It sounds like he's retiring. But I am interested in seeing what happens. Obviously, with Mac Jones now as a starting quarterback. But again, just to recap, Quinn Nordine, now the kicker for the Patriots, extending the 18-year streak of an undrafted free agent. By the way, one undrafted free agent this year, and he made the team. And then Miles Bryant getting cut as well, which I thought was, surprising. But again, like you said, you bring in a guy like Jalen Mills, and he takes that spot, and now you're fighting for a backup spot. And really, Joe Juan Williams, I think, earned that spot as an outside corner, and that's where you need help as an outside corner. And so, you don't necessarily need those slot corners.
It feels like Stephon Gilmore's situation kind of is dictating in that
right.
in that spot. It would be nice to be able to, keep a Miles Bryant, a guy with that kind of depth and that versatility. But I mean, everybody's got versatility.
And then when they traded for Sean Wade, that really made a few of those guys expendable too. So obviously,
a lot of people look at Sean Wade as a guy who, he played a lot of outside corner in that preseason game on Sunday, but a guy who everybody's clamoring for. We want to see him in the slot safety, kind of that star role. We want to see some of that from him. So we'll see. We're never going to see him again. Probably he'll be on the, except in extreme depth situations. But we'll see how it goes.
Quick update from Mike Reese on Penny Jennings, replaced on the IR today, which ends his season. So again, guys like N'Keal Harry's going to be placed on IR. I'm pretty convinced he's going to be placed on IR today. But after the initial 53-man, you have to be on the initial 53-man roster, and then you can come off of IR. If you're placed on IR before the initial 53-man roster, your season is over. Penny Jennings was placed on that before the initial 53-man roster, ending his season. So he's done for the year. Maybe we'll see him next year. Maybe we won't. With the amount of edge guys we got this year, and with Cam McGrone coming back, either the end of this year or next year, seems incredibly unlikely that he'll make the team, but you never know.
Yeah, I think he had a tough path this year.
Yeah,
with the addition of Matt Judon and everybody. So
right.
Okay. I'm sitting here freaking out. Patriots have released Brian Hoyer.
Yeah,
officially.
Yeah, and that's going to be, and again, like we talked about before, that's going to be simply we release him. He doesn't go through waivers, and then when N'Keal goes on IR, we slide him back onto the roster, and it's no big deal.
He's vacationing in Pawtucket.
Exactly. Basically, like, hey, we're releasing you. We'll see you tomorrow. You know what I mean? Go home today. We'll see you tomorrow.
He's going to spend a week up in Wells Beach. Right. He'll be back.
Not even. He'll be back tomorrow. So, dark blue gold, Myers, Jacoby, our wide receiver one's our QB two.
Well, he's always a QB one. I mean, realistically, all of this is just subjective for the real QB one.
So, hey, listen. Giselle said that Tom can't throw it to himself. Maybe Jacoby can throw it to himself. Can throw it and catch it, right? So you never know. Anyways, all right, we're getting a little loopy here, but initial 53-man roster is done. We think we haven't officially seen it, but we've gotten most of the names. So no surprise trades today from the Patriots. We did get an O-lineman trade last night, and so we'll kind of see where that.
Yasir Durant, right?
Yeah, Yasir Durant. So he wasn't at practice today, but I assume that was just because he wasn't here. So be kind of silly to trade for him and then cut him. That wouldn't.
Well, there's a work-in process too, right?
Yeah,
they still have the layering in process with these guys.
Exactly, right. So
I never kept up with all the details like
no, but he'll be back. So anyway, so that's what we got. So I'm sure any other big news comes between now and then. We'll talk to you, but we'll be back tomorrow night at 8:30, recording the Patriot Nation podcast with me, and Brian will be there as well. And of course, Spags and Keegan will be with us during that as well. So thanks for tuning in, guys. We appreciate it. And we'll talk to you soon.